Imagine this with me. Your business is running smoothly. Your clients are happy. Your systems are humming. And deep down, you know you built something worth protecting. You've worked hard for this. You dream of stability, growth, reputation, even a legacy. But then one ordinary day, one small failure happens. A power outage, a server crashes, a network fault occurs, and suddenly everything stops. And the fear hits. What if everything I built can be taken out by one unexpected failure? That fear is real. And Annex A 8.14 exists so you never have to face it unprepared. Because the purpose of this control is to ensure the continuous operation of information processing facilities. This control feels as though it should be sitting alongside the other controls that talk to business continuity. Controls like Annex A 5.30, ICT readiness for business continuity, and 5.24, which talks about information security, incident management, planning, preparation, that kind of thing. Now, they all deal with resilience within your processing facilities. So what makes this control different? Well, let's take a look at what it states, take a look at what is actually required. It states that information processing facilities shall be implemented with redundancy sufficient to meet availability requirements. The key word there, redundancy of information. So systems fail, we know that, and that's not your fault. It happens. You're not careless. You're not unprepared if you've thought about redundancy. You see, you're operating in a world where failure is part of everyday life. It's almost normalized. It's expected to some degree. And dare I say, it's inevitable. But you've seen outages happen in other businesses and thought, surely there's a way to avoid that. There's a way to avoid being caught off guard like they clearly have. And you were right. Your suspicions were correct. Without redundancy, the smallest outage becomes a big problem. So let's try and bring this to life as ever. Some examples. How about the company that lost power to their server room? Everything stopped. They looked unprofessional, not because they were bad, but because they trusted a single source of power. Their dream was shattered by one point of failure, a SPOF, a single point of failure. This control helps ensure that never happens to you. Or how about a single fiber line that was hit by a digger? Someone outside doing some road works simply took out some cables that weren't on their map. Unfortunately, no backups, no redundancy, 2 days offline. Everyone's fear was confirmed. One line can take down your entire business. Your gut was right. Your gut instinct was correct. One path is never enough. So what about the auditor? When it comes to this control, what will they be expecting of you? Well, they'll be expecting to see things like data classification schemes, as we've spoken about previously. You can't protect what you don't understand, and you've got to determine what is important to you. So they're going to want to see that you've thought about the criticality of your systems, and that criticality means that you've identified what is company protected, confidential, how it should be treated, that kind of thing. That all goes into your classification scheme. If you're not sure what we're talking about when it comes to data classification, if memory serves me correctly, that's Annex A 5.12 data classification. So go and take a look at the video related to that. But the auditor is going to want to see things like the redundancy in your processing facilities. Remember, that's what this control is all about. So think about dual power supplies, dual fiber links, backup for even for individual components within your Again, remembering it's processing facilities. So what kind of backup and redundant hardware do you need? I've seen it where there's been dual power supplies within servers and such. We've seen it within racks. We've seen it within server rooms. At what level? Well, that's down to you to determine where do you need that to be. They're going to expect to see things like cloud redundancy considerations as well. So think about what your cloud infrastructure strategy is. Maybe you have two cloud providers and you back up from one cloud provider to another. So you almost have a live situation. So if you lose AWS, for instance, you can immediately go to your backup redundant system and service. The auditor is going to expect to see things like inventories of informational assets as well. They're the kind of things that, again, will tell the auditor that you've thought about what is important to you in your organization. The auditor is going to want to see that you've thought about business impact as well. So going back to another standard, ISO 22301, which talks about BIAs, business impact analysis, and recovery time objectives and recovery point objectives. We cover those elsewhere on other videos, but just suffice to say, the auditor is going to want to see that you've thought about what is the impact upon you and your clients and your business and on data subjects should that data be lost or your systems be gone for any period of time. Think again as another example here. Think about the BIA, the business impact analysis conducted in banking systems, where if a system goes down that pays mortgages, for instance, or bank accounts, then obviously the impact upon data subjects, me, you, your loved ones, businesses, is significant. So the BIA there will definitely highlight the fact that a high level of redundancy is required. The auditor is going to want to see that you've thought about this and talked about this within your management review meetings, that you've audited this and that there's some audit results, and any issues and risks as ever are ending up on your risk register with an appropriate treatment plan. So the auditor is going to be, again, not looking for a single policy. They're not going to be looking for one thing. They're going to be expecting you to demonstrate that you've thought about the backups, the redundancy in your information security environment, your processing facilities, not just thought about backups and such. It's what level of redundancy is required for you and your organization. So what do you need to do? Well, there's several things. Straight out, I would just put these actions on your action to-do list. First of all, complete that BIA, the business impact analysis, so you know exactly what systems matter most. Speak to your IT team. Go and discover what redundancy already exists and what's missing. Go and speak to your facilities teams. Find out what redundancy exists and what's missing. Remember, this isn't just about IT equipment. This is redundancy of those the infrastructure that feeds those IT systems. Do you have dual power supply coming into the building from two separate parts of the building? IT are unlikely to know the answer to that question, but the person who manages facilities will. Go and identify those single points of failure. This isn't an admission of weakness. It's a sign of leadership. It's a sign of clarity. It means that you now know where the issues are. If you see a digger turning up outside your front door and they start digging up the road, do you know that's the access point to for your power, for your utilities, your Wi-Fi, etc. Your fiber. Do you know where that comes in? And implement redundancy when needed. If you identify an issue, those single points of failure, put those on the risk register, but then implement redundancy where it is needed based upon the BIA, based upon data classification, Think about dual power feeds. Think about multiple network connections. Think about failover or live systems. Think about geographically separated environments as well. Depends upon the size and complexity of your organization. And then finally, test that redundancy. It's all well and good saying, well, we've got a redundant power supply, a power source. If it's possible, well, go and check it, go and see that it actually will work. Does the generator kick in when you need it? Does the UPS, the uninterruptible power supply, work when expected? So all of these things combined will help you with redundancy. It means that you have that safety net. You see, you've built something meaningful. You've built something worth protecting, right? And you deserve systems that stand with you, not collapse beneath you. Annex A 8.14 doesn't question your ability. It supports your dreams of building a stable, trusted, and resilient business. It doesn't blame you for outages. It justifies why they were never your fault. It doesn't deny your fear of downtime. It allays with or allays with solid, practical resilience. It doesn't reject your suspicion that single points of failure are dangerous. It confirms it, and it gives you the tools to eliminate them. And yeah, it helps you throw rocks at the real enemy, fragile systems, unreliable infrastructure, and preventable failures. So you need to build redundancy, build resilience, and that ultimately will build your confidence. So I hope that's been helpful. It's an interesting particular control for me because it's so closely linked to business continuity and resilience, and but it's fundamentally about redundancy. So what redundancy have you built into your networks, your physical infrastructure, your technical infrastructure, and dare I say, even in your people? So there you are. Again, I could carry on for far longer, but I'm not going to. As ever, I'm Gary from Consultants Like Us, where we provide compliance without complexity. I hope you've liked this video. If you have, give it a like, give it a share. You never know who you're going to help. You'd definitely be helping me. So thank you in advance for that. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical advice and guidance around ISO 27001. Yeah, together, let's build systems and businesses that never fail. So until next time, stay well, stay safe, and stay connected. Thanks. Bye bye.